Welcome to the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise podcast with global sales trainer and professional speaker, Lois Kofi. Each week, it is her goal to share inspiration and education for you to be, do, have the best health and wealth and wisdom for your life.
Well, all right. Happy Friday, my healthy and wealthy and wise friends and community. And I know we're streaming live in another special community, Surviving Entrepreneurship. Super excited to have an even bigger audience today because we have an amazing guest, Michelle Mercier, and we're going to talk with her in just a moment. Just want to remind you guys the purpose of this show. Every Friday, and then by Monday, you can find us in iTunes, iHeartRadio, on YouTube. And of course, if you're in my email list and you go to my podcast landing page at healthyandwealthyandwise.com, you can get it immediately and not have to wait for the replay. But if you're joining us today, please comment below. #live, where are you tuning in from? If you're on the replay, #replay. We'd love to also know where you're from, our great listeners. And if you really see value in this show today, which it's a no-brainer, you will, go ahead and hit the share button. The other cool thing is if you stay during the live and you ask questions of our amazing guest, because she's got tons of knowledge to give today, you guys, you're going to want to stay around and engage and ask questions. And I'll even throw your comments up on the screen, and you'll get some fame and notoriety as well as get to engage with our guests, which I think is amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest today. She and I go way back, like I said the other day, to 2020. One of my
way back.
I know. We've all aged 10 years in the last year. But she is Michelle Mercier, a business strategy coach. She was a top 10 ranked podcaster nationwide, and then of course in the top 100 globally. You can go to createhonesty.com. I'll throw that up on the slide here and put it in the show notes so you can go and find out more about her amazing podcast and her business. And what's really cool about her is she's led international teams like PayPal Europe. So like this lady, she knows her stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Michelle. I'd love for you to tell our healthy and wealthy and wise community your story and how you got to be where you are today.
Yeah, first off, thank you so much for having me. I love chatting with you in general, but this is even a better privilege. And hello to both communities. That's even better. So I think my background is really interesting. We were just speaking about this, but I came out of college with a theater and music major, like way back, like 10 years ago. So, and the thing about that is, number one, it comes in really handy for hosting a podcast. But number two, I came out and I had to hustle right out of the gate. I had to prove myself. I had to really get clear on, what we are doing regarding sales and putting yourself at. So, from there, I determined I like to make money, eat and live, stuff like that. So I went and got a master's degree in managing nonprofits, more of like the business side. So everything from fundraising to marketing to, I don't know, you name it, I've done it. And then from there, I jumped into the tech world. Because why not? And I ended up, running pretty substantial teams. Like I said, PayPal Europe was one of the ones that I was ahead on, mainly for email marketing, but on the operations side. So that place where people, process, and technology intersect is my sweet spot, which is where the business strategist comes from. But, I did that for almost a decade. And then, my company was bought and sold. I went through, I think, at least like 5, 6, 7 rounds of layoffs. People were just getting really desperate, because they're fighting for their livelihoods. It was an interesting environment. And when I went out on maternity leave with my second one, I was actually the person who was in charge of outsourcing in the timelines around that. So I unfortunately knew when people were going to be there or no longer going to be there. And it was kind of, for lack of a better phrase, soul sucking at a level. And then my second son was born, and just to give you some background, my first son had some pretty severe medical issues, like aspirating liquids into his lungs, seizures, crazy shit. And here I was when all of it first started, running, this crazy team. I was on a plane to Europe. I was on a plane to the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast in EST time, and I would start in the office at 5:30 in the morning, finish up when APAC came on at like 8 p.m. And it just, that was not a very, healthy, wealthy, or wise, maybe wealthy, kind of, definitely not a healthy or wise decision to be doing that. And, so I already had one pretty medically complicated kid and a crazy ass schedule. And then my second one walked in, and he was basically kind of hold my beer to my other one. He came in with heart issues, swallowing issues, turning blue, immune compromise, like his immune system compromised, So I first spent my maternity leave essentially kind of getting him medically stable while juggling my other ones, like just consistent needs, on that end too. So, and I had severe postpartum, which is not to be messed with. So when it came time to go back, I was so excited, right? I was really excited just for that semblance of normalcy. But my entire kind of unit was outsourced because in my head, I knew that was coming, right? I was in charge of it before I left. So my job got nixed. And I always refer to that as kind of my floor moment, because in that moment when I got the call, I could deal with hospital visits. I could deal with all that stuff. I couldn't deal with like my identity was so wrapped up in my job that I couldn't deal with that kind of, right? So I had a choice at that moment, and I could have stepped back into like a 6-figure, same type of job, or I could get honest with myself, which Lois knows my company is called Create Honesty on Paper, because I never want to get that far away from, I didn't recognize myself in those moments. So, I moved forward. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had kind of morphed into all these things. Like I said, theater major, nonprofit person, tech lead, like all this crazy stuff. And I didn't know myself. So I started just embarking on all these different things. I did everything from selling at movie theaters for documentaries to self-help workshops. But the whole time I've been coaching women for their businesses, right? Because I have a really background. So hence where the business strategy coach and consulting comes in. And now I get to do that all the time. Both my kids are, knock on wood, healthy. And we came out of that phase of life, and I built my resilience muscles like it's nobody's business. And launched a podcast on resilience. And now it's just my mission to make people feel like a little bit less alone in this really super messy world, and then grow their businesses so they can architect their lives. So that is me in a nutshell, I would say. Kind of a big one, but
Wow. Being a mom myself and having 2 kids, I remember what it was like after the second one, and the identity thing with your career. And, oh my gosh, I can relate. And I think so many parents out there can, because even the label mom and wife or partner and all of those things, they're like so heavy inside of the brain. How did you keep moving? And I know resilience was something we want to talk about today. So I don't know if you have like your 3 best tips for how you kept moving your foot forward, and instead of going the safe direction, which it sounds like it could have been easy to go back to another 6-figure situation, which, like you said, was compromising your health and your wisdom maybe. But, that would have been easy and safe, it sounds like. But you chose the more challenging entrepreneur path. And I know a lot of people in 2020, they may have lost jobs, they lost their health, their wealth, their mind. How does someone build that resilience muscle to keep going and doing what's best for them?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me personally, in that moment, in that choice, and a lot of people say, well, was it a choice that you made over weeks? No, it was literally like on the floor in that moment, like instant choice for me, which is really kind of odd because that's not usually how I process things. But I think in regards to kind of making that transition, it was something I remember saying to my husband, like, I would rather be broke. I would, and I meant it. Like, I would rather be, completely broke and stuff like that than go back to that older version of myself that I didn't care for. And I think on some level, we may avoid the situation that we're in, but we know when we don't like where we are, right? So, and in terms of resilience, number one, I'm really blessed to have a partner who, we laugh a lot. We laugh like probably inappropriate things sometimes too, right? But, in regards to that, the one thing I was telling my coaching group earlier this thing was, you hear that quote, when you're going through hell, keep going. And I don't necessarily agree all the time. I think, from a resilience perspective, sometimes when you're going through hell, you got to stop. You got to stop and think. And, so I think that, as well as we were very conscious to infuse joy in our lives. We could have easily let a lot of the bad things define us, as many of us do. And my husband and I made a conscious decision to say, this is not where our story ends, because this is just a small chapter in a much bigger book. And we didn't want to do that to our kids either. Like, imagine that you're like 10 or 5 and you're defined by that shitty stuff. Like, no, none of us want to be that. So I would say, anybody out there who's looking from a resilience perspective, think about how you want to be defined, and also remember, failure is a point in time in a person too. That's helpful as well.
Wow. Yeah. That reminds me of Zig Ziglar. Failure is an event. It's not you.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't define you. And I know I can relate to that, having started over, like, I don't know, 500 times. Seems like we have similar backgrounds. I went to broadcast and all of that kind of fun stuff. And, most people, right, they go to college, but do they really use their degree? And, then all of a sudden you're an entrepreneur. They don't teach you entrepreneurship. I mean, not the way that we as coaches teach right now, because there's so much to do. You talked, we shared this on Tuesday in the teaser episode about how to create your life, create your day, and doing like strategy. Can you give an example of, and obviously you don't need to share a client's name or anything like that, but can you give an example or a testimonial of how you help structure the strategy and architect people's businesses, especially if they came from the corporate world?
Yeah, I mean, I have one client in particular that I'm thinking about who, when she came to me, she was coming out of an office where she was one of many, right? She was in the real estate industry. She was in an office where, like, she was going out and getting her own business, but it was under everybody else's terms, right? So when she came out, she was sitting there and she's like, the way that she was doing business wasn't genuine to her, right? It didn't feel good to her. So when we first started working together, we sat down and I literally do, what would be called a current to ideal state analysis. The corporate world, you hear that, you look at the current state, you do a full assessment of that. I mean, when I sit down with clients, I'm like, when your eyes open in the morning, is your first thought like, let's get after this, or is it like, fuck this? Like, which one is that? Right? And if it is not the yay one, then, how can we change that? But that coupled with your business, because, you and I both know, both of our communities know that those things don't like just exist in separate little boxes. Your life isn't neatly here and your job isn't neatly here. So I worked a lot with her on, what does your ideal day look like? How do you want to show up in this world? What do you want the personality of your business to be? Approachable, not necessarily rigid as the thing that she came out with. And, within the first year, she basically doubled her income and her revenue, right? Because she stepped into what she felt was authentic, right? Like, she felt good about showing up and didn't feel like she was trying to jam herself in.
That's awesome. I love it. Authentic is a big word for me. I learned last year I wasn't coming from an authentic place, and that impacts your income.
It does.
Right?
It does.
And launching the podcast made a huge difference for me, as I know it did you.
Absolutely.
And I love we talk about the ideal day, because I do a lot with the 12-week year and ideal work week. And I know part of for people to not work 24/7, right? We have a dream for people to create their day. Jim Rohn said, are you here to make a living, or are you here to design a life for yourself? So I'd like us to transition into the wealth conversation of creating an architecture within your business of, multiple streams of income, or having that plan A, B, C, D, E that we were talking about on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So what are you finding for your clients now? Because obviously it's one thing to create your ideal day for your life, family, and work. But then how are they adding in the additional stream of revenue?
Yes, I mean, just to give you an example of one of the activities that I just ran with a group recently was, I feel like people tend to have this definition of how they need to make money, right? And it's like this finite, like if I'm a coach, I will only coach this way and I will do this, this, and this. And they keep themselves in a box. So one of the first things I do for folks, as I have them do a revenue brain dump, you set that timer for 10 minutes and you open up on that piece of paper. Any way that you can make money. Like, I don't care what it is. Like, it doesn't, because I want you to come up and out of that box, right? Of like staying safe and staying in. So then, you can look at it and then whittle it down and say, okay, and pick your top 4 out of that are going to lead to your ultimate revenue goal for that year and put them in play. Turn those top 4 revenue generators into SMART goals and make it happen, right? But
Awesome.
then I think what that also allows you is to have the backup, right? Because as we saw in 2020, shit hits the fan and you got to pivot, you have an entire list and inventory you can go back to, right? Or you can add if you have more bandwidth.
I love that.
Yeah,
I'm just curious.
That's how I bring people through. Huh?
That's awesome. I'm just curious, why is there a reason why you picked 4, or is that just there's an arbitrary number?
I think
there's no reason.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to do, a little bit more mono focus. I mean, because believe me, I'm a big fan of doing like 50 million things at once, but then people lose focus, right? So, I tend to do, okay, here's your revenue goal for each quarter, right? Here's your major revenue driver and then the tactics that go into it. And some of those may have some sub goals, but then I also will align people with visibility goals as well. So,
Awesome.
It's not just like, here's the one little thing you're doing. It's this kind of pyramid of things that you're doing as well. And then doing it quarter by quarter so that you can actually pivot in a proactive manner.
Yeah, building your tribe, having a structure, having a plan. Hey, Jackie, she's live. Hopefully driving safely on her way to Mankato.
Yeah, I hope so.
Awesome. Cool. Well, and I know we talked about one of my favorites and one of your focuses for 2021 is to have affiliate income. And that's something that, folks, it's very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not invasive. It's not time sucky. It's not consuming. Yeah, exactly. Especially if you guys are building a tribe, whether it's through Facebook, podcast, how are you? What are some of your affiliate focuses this year, so we can give our listeners some ideas on how that can help them build wealth?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I'm auditing my life and where I do business and how I do business and where I'm taking in educational resources and, the things that work for me. You see oftentimes, especially around the new year, like top 10 gifts for entrepreneurs, or top 10 things to help you plan your goals, or whatever. And I think sometimes you already have things that you can turn into affiliate deals and you just don't know it. So for me, for example, like I get, we both went through the podcast Profit Lab. Hello. Like, amazing. So that's kind of a no-brainer to move that to an affiliate link, but also smaller things. Like I get a subscription box for entrepreneurs, affiliate link. Amazon does a great thing where you can do wish list to affiliate link. So there's different ways to go about it. And for me, one of my 2021 goals, like I said, is to put more emphasis on that by building out like an affiliate hub so that it's just second nature, that it's just there. So that you have something too like that, your resources, right?
Yes, thank you. I'm just going to have to selfishly put that up there. So if you guys, this is, she's talking about affiliate income. For those of you who don't know what that is, because I didn't really do anything with it until 2020 myself. Being able to refer someone to a product or service like the PPL, the Podcast Profit Lab, refer someone to it, you get paid a commission. Sometimes it's one time. Sometimes it can be residual. It just depends on the scenario. And so I've got about 15 to 20 affiliate things on this resources page, and Michelle will be there soon. So you can find out, and we're going to talk about her free gift later today. But if there's a way you can systematize it so you make money while you sleep, right, Michelle? We're not trying to, and I don't want to sound, I'm not putting this industry down, but like in network marketing and direct sales, oftentimes can be a time suck. It's a lot more time and energy. you really are becoming a salesperson for another entire industry. Affiliate though, like you said, Amazon idea.
You're good.
Brilliant.
I mean, it's
Amazon,
just like a simple one. Yeah. Amazon, I mean, I see a lot of people put out like, here are my top 10 books. Here's the recommended reading I want to read. Put a freaking affiliate link behind that, guys. Like, it may not make you millions, but it's just, again, you hear all the time people saying, I want passive income, passive income, passive income. Well, you don't get much more passive than affiliate links. And I think, and it's to Lois's point, it's not a high level of effort either. You've already, like in our case, PPL, we already did it. It's proof of concept, so why not share that with people as well? So I think it's a perfect chance.
Like I know you're starting your own affiliate. So if you guys love what you hear from Michelle this year, you can reach out to her and talk to her about that. It's essentially you're getting paid for your referrals, So in some ways it's not that it's different, but kind of similar to compare it to people. You refer someone to a restaurant or a movie, you don't necessarily get paid unless you have like those punch cards, right? You get a free sandwich after the sixth one or whatever. But in this case, if you find ways to automate it, refer people to Michelle, refer people to me. I have an affiliate program too. You refer once and you can get paid. We call it inbox money, right? Where you're like, oh, I got paid. That's great. Yeah. So you talk about work-life integration. I know we were going to close with that a little bit, but for people who are still figuring it out, the entrepreneurship and the ideal day and juggling homeschooling, I can relate that. I mean, right now that work life is so intertwined. I can't escape it. You're a spiritual being having this human experience, and you got to show up for your clients, and you got to have your head screwed on straight, right? And you're working on wealth building through another affiliate income or whatever you guys are looking for as your next stream of income. That's simple. Do you have any other advice on how to work through all of that?
Yeah, I mean, so I used to run like self-worth workshops and people in like self-care, and they'd be like, I have no time. And I'd be like, well, there's 24 hours in a day. You sleep for maybe 6 to 8 of them. That's a lot of hours left over, right? And I think sometimes we get so anxious, we're so stressed out because of the amount of pivoting that we do in one day, quite frankly, that, we think that there's less time than there is, if that makes sense. So, be intentional, I think, is my number one thing, because I think people, again, if everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. So pick 3. That's it. Like pick 3. For me, it's my health, my family, my business. Friends, like family, I mean, extended family, friends, they'll fall in there. But every week, every Sunday night, I sit down and I look at my schedule and I bump it up against those 3. And if it doesn't align, it gets next. So, I think as well as looking at things holistically, because you have to your point, like what you just said, give yourself permission to look at it holistically and not in boxes, and then plan holistically. My to-do list that I make on Sunday nights isn't just my business list. It's everything. I dump it all out onto paper and I allocate it to windows of time. And I also maintain somewhat of a flexibility within the framework. So I have a framework and an ideal thing, but if it doesn't go exactly right, it doesn't go exactly right. Because that's impossible with children sometimes too. And I don't beat myself up about it. I just learn a new way of doing it the next week. That's all.
Yeah, taking stock and reflection. I have a sheet, a document that has like my time structure for the day and what I'm focused, committed to, giving myself grace. But at the end, I reflect on it without emotion and judgment, just logically speaking, hey, yeah, I spent too much time on Facebook today. That was not, that didn't get me closer to my goals and dreams and objectives. Exactly. Or to your point, my daughter had a dental emergency this week. So we were up half of one night and ended up needing to get her into the dentist the next day. And so I became caregiver. And so I had to move things around and hey, people understand now more than ever because everybody's in it with you. You don't have to lie. Just say, I just rescheduled something today. And I said, hey, my week went sideways because of this dental thing. You talk about creating honesty, right? How many entrepreneurs out there are wearing a mask because they want to look perfect.
Yeah, and that's exhausting, guys. Like at some point, like that cracks, right? You can wear that mask for so long, but it's going to crack and then the cracks are going to get bigger. So, I mean, that's another reason why my company is Create Honesty, because I don't want to do business with people who are got the mask. I don't want to have to put the mask on, right? Like if my kids got sick, I mean, the first couple of years of my business, I didn't have a choice. My kids get sick, my kids get sick. Like sick meant like hospital usually. So I'm not going to apologize for that because that's real life. And everybody has that shit going on, pandemic or no. It's just some are better at hiding it.
Yeah, that old adage, never let them see you sweat. Oh my gosh, that's such BS. I think a lot of us grew up with that. At least I know I did. I know we shared your createhonesty.com website, but I'd love for you to tell them any other places they can find you. And then, of course, tell them about their free gift. What do they win behind door number 1?
I know, right? I wish I had like sound effects and like visuals for that, like looking it up or something. But yeah, I mean, you can find me, like you said, createhonesty.com. Create Honesty is also my handle on Facebook, on Instagram. You can look up my name on LinkedIn. I would love to see you there. And obviously the podcast, The Resilient Entrepreneur, is on all the places you find podcasts. And then I have a Facebook group, hello Facebook group, because I know we're live streaming there too, the Surviving Entrepreneurship Community that you can jump into. Can we talk free gift? Cool.
Absolutely. I'll add all of those links inside the show notes too. So just so you guys know, if you didn't get all that fast enough, I'll put it inside there.
Yeah, cool. And then free gift. So I have created this wonderful document for you that is 6 tips to ultimate business success. And I did it short, sweet. They're in little boxes for you because I want you to hang it where you can see it. I want it to be something that you can plaster up and it can remind you of kind of those like key things that you need to keep trucking forward towards to get to success. So, and the way that you get that, I'm going to make it super easy, except for the person who's driving, please don't do this right now. But pull up your phones, folks, break out your phones. And all you have to do is text the word success to 55444. That is success to 55444, and it'll show up in your inbox. And that's as easy as that.
Awesome. I know I'm going to do that. I want to get those 6 tips, guys, because, hey, I'm coachable. I don't have all the answers. And I love having people like Michelle here as a friend also to share, collaborate. And I know we're getting close to the end, guys. I always want you guys to reach out to my guests. They're inside. You can reach Michelle in her community. Again, and I'll share that. You can also join the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise Facebook community. And before I ask Michelle my last question, I do want to make a couple of reminders. And this is huge, guys. Next week, January 27th, from 3 to 7 p.m. Pacific time. And we may end early. I just wanted to kind of give you a range. I'm going to have not 1, not 2, but 10 action-packed powerhouse guests coming back. It's my 100th episode. And we're going to even have a closing meditation for our 11th guest. I have my spiritual teacher coming in for that. I'm going to quickly share with you guys all of the guests here. This is going to be our show. So we have Eric Lofholm, who's an international sales trainer. We have Travis Sims, owner of AGC, Accelerated Global Connections. If you need to improve sales and networking, those are the first 2 guests you're going to want to hit starting at 3:15 Pacific. Amy Kaiser, she's a health expert, a soulhealingmassage.com, and she's got a lot to say about women's health, but just spiritual healing in general. Jenny Harkleroad, subconscious mind coach and healer. She will help you remove those blocks. Brian Kelly, automation expert. He can help you automate your business so that you can make money while you sleep. Jamie Atkinson, of course, is the founder of PPL, is How I Met Michelle, the podcast Profit Lab. Did you know that 70% or more of podcasters really don't make money and they quit, and it's an expensive hobby? Well, don't do that. So come and listen to what Jamie has to share. Teresa Jessen, she's a network marketing coach, does a lot with LinkedIn outreach and is an expert on LinkedIn, can apply to almost any business, not just network marketing. Amy Tyson, she's my Chinese metaphysicist. She's going to help you predict the year of the ox, which starts just in a couple weeks. Robert Meyer, he's an affiliate marketer and a crypto multi-stream income guy. And of course, Marnie C. will close it out. She is my mental health expert, and goodness gracious, who doesn't need a little mental health support here in this new normal? I'm going to be giving away $10,000 worth of coaching, you guys. On top of that, every single one of my guests, including Bhakti for the meditation, is going to be giving away a free gift as well. So if you want to show up, I'll insert the information. I'll email it out. There are rules that apply to winning the $10,000. There's actually going to be 2 grand prize winners. So super excited. If you want to show up, show out, we'll share all those rules and things inside of the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise community, which again is where you can find Michelle, who got to be here for episode 99. So thanks, Michelle, for warming up the crowd for next week.
Sure.
So I'd love to ask you my closing question that I ask of all of my guests. When you hear the phrase healthy and wealthy and wise, Michelle, what does that mean for you?
It means that I have time and money freedom, and that I feel good while doing it, quite frankly, and that I can make the decisions. I control my destiny. I control my wealth making potential, that there's no cap on it. But I do it from a position where I'm not compromising the other things in my life, like my health, because I've done that before. I don't recommend it. And that I can be a lifelong learner and consistently move forward.
Awesome. And I know you're really passionate about that. I mean, you guys heard that throughout the show about work-life integration and balance and harmony, whatever you call it, guys. We want you to create a life by design and be healthy and wealthy and wise. Well, again, guys, if you saw value in this live or replay show, or if you find this on YouTube later, please share this with someone here in 2021 that could be hurting. Please connect with Michelle inside of our community once again, and join her Facebook community if you are interested. And until next time, again, next Friday, actually, I'll share with you, besides the 100th episode, a huge marathon live stream with the $10,000 in giveaways. Next Friday will be episode 101 with Franco Romero. He's actually known as the Closet Spiritualist. So we're going to go really spiritual, really deep next week about spiritual awakenings and how you can be and find your best self through that, which can be messy, can be painful. I've been going through that myself. It seems like 2020, a lot of people have found these awakenings and have really been asking themselves, why am I here? Right? So we're going to have Franco talk about his book and all of the important things that goes with that. So until next time, guys, stay healthy, wealthy, and here's to your best wisdom. Bye-bye for now.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, refer a friend, and please drop me a rating or a review. If you do that, I'll reward you with a free 20-minute free coaching session on crafting your journey to your best self. Reach out to me at lois@loiscoffee.com to claim your 20-minute slot. Until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.